Hi there, my name is Juliet. Welcome to my channel, Intuitive Juliet. Intro, sound, noise thingy. Here we are. Welcome to the Christmas setting. Do you like the little nutcrackers? I like them a lot. We have a Christmas decor. I don't think everyone, yes. I don't think everything is in frame, but most of it is. Hi there, how are you doing? My name is Juliet. Welcome to my channel. I still sometimes want to say welcome to my space because before this my channel was called Juliet Space. Okay, so welcome to this new setup again, sort of. I'm kind of like fine-tuning everything. Got a new microphone, which is nice, which is lovely. And I love Rode. Sorry, it's Rode, right? Is it a brand from Austria or is it a brand from somewhere in Scandinavia? The brand is Rode. I just got the sticker because everything I own actually with audio, most of it anyways, is Rode. So I guess I do love Rode. It's a very good it's a very good brand. It's a really good brand. I'm going to try to figure out first of all how this thing the ranges and stuff, but also want to do more podcast type videos. I'm just going to do it. So what is the topic today? Because on my channel we talk about mental health a lot. This is not a good thing to be having a push pin, is that how you call it? I'm talking about mental health a lot. Has sharp object in hands. Let's just put this here. I used it to hang up this thing, which is actually Halloween, but I'm just gonna pretend that I'm the witch because I like the way it's hanging. Okay. I don't know if all of you know my story. And this is not to be like, oh, I've had a rough past. Not at all. But I was kind of like wondering, why would I watch someone on YouTube and watch what their story is or listen to their advice? And I was like, well, maybe people want to know my story and what I've been through and why I talk about what I talk about and why I know so much what I'm talking about or what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. Okay. First of all, if I cough diligently with a lot of noise, it's because my lungs are hurting. I don't know what's going on, but every time I breathe in, I can feel my lungs. So that's a good sign. Yeah, I'm just, there's a cold in the Netherlands again, so you know what? I'm gonna get tested for corona, obviously, but doesn't matter. Whatever it is, I will survive. Just saying, if I cough, that's why. Okay. But why do I talk about what I talk about? What is the reason, Juliet? Why are you not telling us? Well, first of all, I'm kind of upset because I wanted to wear earrings for this video, but now I'm realizing you can't see them. So that's off the table. Let me just put them out. You know what? I'm just gonna keep them in. I know that I'm wearing them and that's what matters. Second of all, why do I know so much about psychology, mental health, manifestation, law of attraction? Well, first of all, we live in an information age, so everything that you want to know, you can know. So that's that. And I have been self-studying everything about mental health and psychology since I was like 15 or 16. Now I'm 25, so that makes 10 or 9 years of self-studying, watching videos every single day, reading a lot about it. So that's why I know so much about a lot of things. So, okay, why do I talk about these things? Well, I guess it's kind of like the wounded healer. When you go through something, it becomes your strength, right? So, and you have many examples of people who the best ideas or the best like business models are from people who want to help people who have been through something, or people who come up with an idea because of a struggle that they have or something that they want to solve. They come up with a product that solves it. Boom, an idea is born. And that's how a success is made, or it can be, at least. Okay. So when I was growing up, I don't know when it started. I think that for most people who are going through depression or anxiety, you don't know where it starts. You can maybe pinpoint a cause that has happened in your past, but then a lot of things that follow up from that point, they all contribute to you having an anxiety disorder or a depressive disorder or any type of mental health issue that you have. It could be a syndrome that's within you, that's also a thing. But a lot of things and a lot of factors that happen throughout someone's life, they all contribute to that. I'm already out of breath because of my fucking lungs. Okay, regroup, Juliet. Breathe in. So when I was younger, I always had tantrums because I always felt like no one understood me. I don't know why, it just happened. So that's how it started. Then I went to school and got bullied because of my weight. That didn't help, obviously. Self-esteem was kind of like down, sucked. But okay, we continue on with school. I hated school from an early age on. I hated it. I hated going. I hated people. I didn't like it. And that state of mind, when you are a kid, doesn't help with your social survival in school, okay? So even in early school, primary school, elementary school, I don't know, when you're about like 6 or 7, up until 10, before you go to high school, right? I was sick a lot because I was afraid of going to school. So, and when I say I was sick, you know, I had symptoms. I always had real symptoms. And mom was like, well, I don't know what's going on. So, okay, you're staying home. But that didn't help with the anxiety, what people were going to say when I was going to school again. And I made all of these assumptions about people, about what they were going to think, what they were going to say about me. And that's kind of how this whole anxiety thing started. Now, okay, so when I was in lower school, my mom, she had the option for me to skip a grade, but she didn't do that because of she wanted me to develop socially on a normal level with people or children my age. But that basically meant that I was smarter in school. This is such a fucking ego thing. Like, oh, I'm smart. But, and grades or like school, it doesn't imply automatically how smart you are. But I think because I was maybe smarter than most kids, I have more problems too. You know, that's how that goes. You think more, you have more problems. You know, the smartest people, they have the most problems and a lot of demons, basically. So it didn't help for me either to always be a perfectionist, because I was always put in classes that had like extra work because it was too easy for me. But that's all. It was kind of like school was kind of like, it was all downhill from there though. Anxiety was always at a peak. Always. Like, I can't remember a single day in school where I wasn't anxious, or at least a little bit on edge. And then my high school career started, and it got way worse because, well, you're a teenager, you got hormones and stuff, and people are actually putting sentences together, and when they say something about you, it actually sounds smart and mean, and well, it didn't help. My self-esteem was so low. I didn't have any confidence. I was shy a lot. So my schoolwork really suffered from that. And I dropped out, basically. I went to a lower level of school, and I wasn't happy there either because it was too easy for me. And I knew that I could do better, so I beat myself up over it a lot. This is also, or when I was 16, so still in high school, was also when like my major depression started. So I was held back a year because of my schoolwork or my grades, and that really that was my biggest fear when I was a kid, because I was smart, so I could do everything, but somehow I couldn't, because I was feeling like shit every single day. So and also I had this feeling like no one understood me, and no one helped me, and everyone was against me, and the world was against me, and everyone I encountered basically was against me. That was my whole identity at that point was the depressed girl and the anxious girl, and I couldn't do anything girl. So I didn't, and I couldn't. I had happy moments here and there, obviously. It wasn't all bad, but most of the time I was severely unhappy, anxious, suicidal, just everything. So when I was 16 or 15, I was held back a year, and I remember hearing the news, sitting in my bed, and I just felt this dark kind of like ocean wash over me. And at that point, I just cried myself to sleep every single night for maybe 6 months or about a year. I was so depressed, so unhappy. So then, because you're obligated to learn till you're 18, I was put in lower education. Obviously, was severely unhappy there. Didn't speak a word. That's when I started working in retail, and then I got a diploma from that, but wasn't happy and didn't know what I wanted to do after that. But this was the time where I really started researching everything that I wanted to research about depression and anxiety, because I was faced with so many problems all of the time and I didn't understand any of them. No one was helping me, or I felt like no one was helping me. And I just wanted answers of why I was feeling this way. My parents did put me with a psychologist, like a freelance psychologist, because it was either that or death at that point. So I went to a psychologist when I was 16. I don't really remember much of it, because also everything at that age is kind of like a dream. My whole life felt like a nightmare anyways, and it felt like I had this constant brain fog just surrounding me that was filtering everything in a very, very different way. It was filtering things that people said, and I took everything personally, and I just couldn't see the truth anymore of what life really was like. And it is true that there is no truth, okay, because everything is perception either way. But my perception at that point was utter misery and personal attacks. I didn't feel at home anywhere, and I was severely unhappy. Yes, I fucking hated life, okay? So that was when I was 15 and 16. My depression was at its peak, anxiety was at its peak, everything was at its peak basically, except for my sexual awakening. Okay, sorry, it's just a little joke. So that sucked, and then I went on doing things that I didn't want to do. I finished the education, then I was at home a year without anything. I was so unhappy. I was so alcoholic. Okay, like this was the year that I consumed so much alcohol. And I was like 18 at the time, or 19. And you can drink in the Netherlands from the age of 18. Now it's a legal drinking age, but when I was younger, when I was 16, the legal drinking age was actually 16, and it got how did you fucking say that? It got to 18. They legally changed to 18 when I was like 17 or 18. So I could drink legally all of the time. Okay, so was an alcoholic for a year, and I was so that I think that year my depression was less, but my anxiety, my God, I was so anxious. Sometimes even that I had insomnia, and then I was awake, obviously insomnia, and then at day I couldn't even sleep. I was unable to sleep for like 3 days because I was so anxious. It was so weird. And all this time, right, I didn't consume any medication for it, because I didn't believe in medication. I always thought like it's going to help, but I'm going to get hooked on it, just like I was hooked on alcohol for a while. I'm going to get addicted to it. I'm not gonna be able to function without it anymore, so I'm not going to do medication. But I did think about it a couple of times. It surprises me why I didn't get help for some reason. I only got help when I was really at my lowest point, but that was because my parents said so. And after that, I just wanted to do things on my own. And I think that's why now I'm so good at what I do, and I'm so good at figuring out people. And that's why also I speak about it on YouTube, because I want to help people create shortcuts to their mental problems, shortcuts out of it, obviously. Because a lot of things that therapists are like a godsend, and they really help people, they really do. But the reason why I didn't become a psychologist or a therapist is because sometimes people say, yeah, well, I need therapy in order to function all of my life. And I'm just like, you need a therapist your entire life? That's a part of your life? That's obviously, it's fine. Everyone can do whatever they want to do, but I'm glad that I don't need a therapist for my entire life. Because sometimes psychologists and therapists, they keep you in your problems. You keep identifying with the problems that you have, the mental issues that you face. Why would you want that for your entire life? Why would you want to limit yourself like that? Obviously, everyone does what they want to do, okay? There's not me saying like, you should do this, you should do that. Hell no. Don't care about that, okay? I'm just saying you don't have to. There are other options out there. I'm just like, am I sounding like I'm diminishing problems? And I'm just like, no, this is literally what I went through. If I were to right now say I need a psychologist, I need a therapist my entire life, I would still have the problems that I had when I was younger. And I swear to God that I don't want to have those problems. Because I went from sort of like an anxious chihuahua that was always shaking, and I couldn't even go out on the streets. I even, as a practice or as like an exercise, my mom would call me, or I would have to go to the supermarket, right? And she was like, okay, you're just going to get some salad, and I'm going to call you if you can't find it, because I would always have an anxiety attack if I was unable to find something, and I couldn't. I physically didn't want to. I couldn't ask someone who worked there because it was just too scary for me. So I didn't do that. So I had to call my mom, and she would say like, okay, this is the supermarket where we went to or we still go to, right? So we know it's how it's in Dutch ingedeeld. We know how it's set up. We know where everything is basically. So she would call me, and I would say like, well, I'm near the vegetables right now. And she would say, okay, turn right. And I would still be unable to see it because I was so anxious. I was so fucking anxious. But then she was like, okay, turn a bit to left. Oh, there it is, and then I would calm down and it's all okay. But the reason I'm saying this is because if I were to still have a therapist for my anxiety, because some people, they say that they still suffer from anxiety, or they are anxiety sufferers, well, you're limiting yourself there. You're limiting yourself to your anxiety. And this is a very dangerous game. This is actually in my book too. I wrote about this in my book. I wrote a book. It's coming out soon. But I wrote in it that it's a dangerous game if people they identify themselves with things. I'm shy. I'm not so confident. I'm anxious. I have insomnia. I have this. I have that. Why are you doing that? Why are you identifying with the thing you want to get rid of? Why are you identifying with the thing that you're talking to your therapist to for your entire life, or to your psychologist? Is there some kind of gratification you get from it? Sometimes of validation, like I suffer more than the average person, and that's cool. And that's fun, because when I was depressed and anxious, I felt special. That's a weird thing. I felt comfortable in depression. I felt comfortable in my anxiousness, in my anxiety. It felt easy to return back to that instead of to get uncomfortable and to say, no, this is not who I am. This is who I am. And that's the weirdest thing. And that's because your body is addicted to the feelings and emotions. This is a whole different video, okay? But this is actually proven scientifically by Dr. Joe Dispenza, that your body is emotionally addicted, or your body is addicted to emotions that you have thought about for a long time and that you felt. That's why if you are a certain type of weight and you want to lose that weight, or you are a binge eater or whatever. This is an example because I do that. Okay, this is an identity. I'm identifying with being a binge eater. I know. At this moment in time, I do sometimes go for the occasional crisp or the occasional chocolate or more, and I do sometimes consume more types of junk food on a day. Okay, I want to stop that, but then I get uncomfortable and I'm like walking to the fridge saying like, no, don't do it, Juliet, don't do it.
It's just this once.
Yeah, it's just this once, this day, okay? For the entire fucking week. And I'm complaining about getting stomach aches. Oh no, I get stomach aches, but I eat all fucking day. It feels uncomfortable because my body is addicted to the emotions that I've been feeling. Even though they're bad emotions, it doesn't matter if they're bad emotions. Just like when you attract negative things in your life, you're like, but I don't want this. Well, why are you saying then you don't want it when you're focusing on it, right? Your attention to it is what gets the thing. Okay, so a little sidetrack there, but that is exactly why where did I start? I always forget. Okay. So that's why people go to therapists and psychologists for a long time. But that's not what I wanted to do, okay? I wanted to get better. I wanted to be better. And so, okay, fast forward a couple of years, okay? I got working in retail. Where did I leave with? Or where did I left off? Yeah, right. Okay, so got my education. Was an alcoholic for an entire year. Then I went to another school and didn't finish that because I was like, I don't want to be in school. What the hell am I doing here? And then I got to working at the job that I'm still currently at. I started this job when I was 21. Still really anxious. Most of the time really unhappy, okay? For different types of reasons that I'm just not going to get into. We all have our shit. You have yours, I have mine. Let's just say predominantly I was unhappy. So I wasn't happy there. But something changed when I was at that job. I first of all learned about the law of attraction. That just changed everything at a massive speed. Like, especially when I read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle about how you are not your thoughts. It changed my entire life for the better. Still had the occasional, still every day I was battling myself, my ego, and still realizing now that that's completely normal, that I am and was that unhappy. But I did a full 180? I did a full 180, basically, because I go now with periods. With periods. I do have a period every single month, but I now go periods without actually thinking anything. I am predominantly happy. I am an optimistic person. I always think everything is going to turn out for the best. I don't listen to negative thoughts anymore at all. Like, they're all just kind of like slowly just dripping away or something. That is what spirituality and this whole journey has brought me right now. And if I think about it like that, instead of thinking about all the things that are wrong with my life and that went wrong, I can think about all the things that are right with my life and the things that it has brought me, which is really beautiful. But that's the reason why I talk about mental health and spirituality and the intuition so much. And that's why I correlate the intuition, or to me it correlates to freedom and magic. And it's a thing that's truly you, and instead of your problems that the ego identifies with, or you identify with. So the ego is an equivalent to your negative thoughts. The ego, Jesus Christ, let me just breathe a little. That's what the ego is, basically. Ego is your negative thoughts, and you identify with your negative thoughts, body being addicted, blah blah, everything, everything kind of like goes back to that, I'm not making sense, but I don't know how to word it to you. That's why at least I talk about what I talk about. And that's what I wanted to say today. So that's my story. What's yours? Do you also have you also struggled with depression and anxiety? I mean, who hasn't these days, right? But just don't let it limit you, because it's not you and you can change. And that's what I wanted to say. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you really have a nice evening. So goodbye. That was great. That was fucking great, man. Loved it. Put it on YouTube. Don't even edit it. It's fucking brills. Where the fuck is the remote controller? Where are you? There you are.